Somebody once told me that the sexiest business advice is often the worst business advice. While everybody's chasing the latest growth hacks and viral strategies, the most successful entrepreneurs are the ones who are focusing on the more boring things. And I found that to be true. So in this video, we're gonna talk about 5 things that are often seen as more boring, that are vital for you in your business and your long-term success. And many of you might actually be avoiding these things, which you need to stop doing. So here we go. 5 items, starting with number 1. It's email. Email marketing. Yes, email has been around for a while. People often try to avoid it because there's social media and all these other things that are more fancy and more fun and just get rewarded much quicker for that. But email is still one of the best ways to personally reach out to someone and not just send them information or broadcast, but it's a great way to broad ask. And I use email primarily for discoverability, for who is in my audience that's kind of warm that I could potentially help them out and serve in different kinds of ways. Something common I've been hearing amongst many successful entrepreneurs is that they regret, and I include myself in this as well, I regret not starting an email list sooner. In fact, I recently heard Chris Donnelly, I think maybe even the most popular person on LinkedIn right now, say the exact same thing. When we think of email, we sometimes think of it as an archaic way to communicate because there's better, faster, more rapid ways of communication on places like social media. But email is still very personal when you receive it. If you haven't started your email list yet, I have a resource for you. If you go to 100emails.com, it's our 100 emails challenge. You can actually get up to 100 emails on your own in 72 hours. We'll walk you through the process. You won't have to even buy anything. You'll just have to follow the process. And it's helped tens of thousands of people get started with our email list, and that's probably the best place to start. Now, if you already have an email list, thankfully, I talk about email quite a bit, which is why it's first here. Again, I cannot stress how important it is, but how often people overlook it. So if you've overlooked it, stop and start focusing on it again. And I have some videos down below in the description to help you with understanding how to better serve your audience through email, how to utilize different tools that are available. We use Kit in our business, but it doesn't really matter what you use. There are different strategies to get more open rates, to have better click-through rates, and of course, make more money too. So go ahead and check out the links in the description for email, but we're gonna move on to the second thing that is not overlooked because people don't think it's important, but it's overlooked because it often is boring as hell and scary at the same time. So what is that? Well, it's the legal stuff. Now, legal stuff in business is one of those things that nobody really enjoys. I mean, some people enjoy it, but we often don't even think about it until we need it. And in order to be long-term successful with your business, you want to take a little bit more of a proactive approach with the legal things in and around your business. So what does this mean exactly? Well, I'm not necessarily saying patents and even trademarks and things like that. Yes, those things can be important, but I'm talking about more the foundational items that you need to have a legal business and also protect yourself at the same time. In order to win long-term with your business, we don't want to take a reactive approach to legal, which is what most people do. I even did that as well when I had gotten a cease and desist letter for using a trademark in my domain name. I had to react and then find a lawyer right away to help me. Thankfully, I got out of that. But if you are proactive, you can avoid those situations and make sure that you have everything in order as you grow. So foundationally for a business, it is number 1, incorporating. To be able to protect yourself, to be able to have a legal entity that now can accept money and, is kind of separated from your personal stuff. That's really important. Next, if you have a website or anything that you sell, you want to make sure you have all your legal ducks in a row there, from terms and conditions to disclaimers and all those kinds of things. Having templates is really, really key. I have a resource for you in just a second that I'm going to share about that. But contracts and anything that is dealing with other companies, you want to make sure you have, again, stuff in line to protect yourself and also make sure that what is said or what the handshake is about actually is followed through, or you actually have something that you can use as a case in case you are being taken advantage of. And then of course you have things down the road that you might focus on, like trademarks and patents and things like that. With SwitchPod, we went through a patent process which took over a year, which was absolute headache. But again, getting proactive with that to be able to protect ourselves and our product so that nobody else could steal it. Or if they do, we have some legal rights to go and fight it. The best resource I can give you is a good friend of mine, Sam Vanderwielen. She is a lawyer who has a lot of templates and she's able to help you navigate the world of legal for your online business. So definitely check her out. We'll put a link to her down below in the description. Now, another important reason why you need to legally form your business is so that you can have business banking, because you want to keep your personal finances separate from your business finances. And so let's talk about business banking really quick, even though that is sadly another thing that people avoid, but it's really, really important, especially because hopefully you'll be making money and even spending money to make more money. So look, this isn't just about looking professional. Separate business accounts, like I said, protect you legally. They make taxes inherently easier, and they help you understand what's going on in your business. And when you mix personal and business, it's like you're trying to cook in the laundry room. And technically that is possible, but I don't know why you would do that, and it's kind of dangerous. See, here's the thing. I made a lot of mistakes as well back when I started in 2008. I was actually mixing personal and business finances, and that's not good. Not good for a few reasons. Number one, I just had no idea what was going on, and I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants with my business. Thankfully, I had a mentor tell me the importance of this, not just for the purposes of knowing what's going on, but also for the purposes of legally keeping things separated, because if you're mixing those two things together, you're not actually protecting yourself, and that could work against you in case you fall into any trouble and you're trying to protect yourself from legal stuff. So important to separate those out. And back then it wasn't so easy to get set up, but thankfully today, there's a company out there that I want to recommend to you if you're just getting started with business banking, or you want to transfer to, that makes things so much easier because they understand small businesses. And that's where our partner Relay comes in. They're an online banking platform that helps small businesses like yours. This too, like I said, legally protect yourself, but also just so you can be crystal clear on what you're earning, what you're spending, and what you're saving. So use Relay to organize money with multiple checking accounts. You can start to allocate different things to different places for different reasons. And we've tested the big banks before. I've used bigger banks. I'm not going to mention any names, and they're kind of mid. But Relay offers the best of features that actually work with entrepreneurs without nickel or diming you. And that's exactly what you want with business banking, right? So get $50 when you sign up and fund your Relay account. So all you have to do is go to smartpassiveincome.com/getrelay, and you can see why thousands of business owners have made the switch to Relay. Thank you, Relay, for sponsoring this video. And again, highly recommend checking them out. And now I will relay you to now the fourth thing that you need to know that often is considered boring, but very, very important. And that is customer service. What is a business without customer support? Well, it sucks, right? I've had problems with businesses before that never get back to me. Or, when you have to put in something in the chat, or you put in a ticket for help and you don't get an answer for a week, that's not a great experience. And especially you're just starting out, you want to make sure that you are quick to reply, that you reply with empathy, that you understand how customers are feeling so that you can better support them. Because here's the opportunity. You can actually have a customer who maybe once was angry or upset at you become a lifelong fan of yours based on how you react to what has happened. And look, our businesses are never perfect, so it's going to be important to understand what is not working so you can better serve your audience over time and have, over time, less of a worry about customer support. So this is why it's a little bit of a push and pull. In the beginning of your business journey, you're going to have a lot more customer support required, and it's important you respond and you respond in a smart way. So let's talk about some strategies and ways to kind of grow into customer support, especially when you're just starting out. Again, it's not super sexy and fun, especially when you're hearing people who are upset or not satisfied with what you have going on. But again, there's always an opportunity to flip that around and make somebody's day. Now, customer support doesn't always mean you have customers from a paid product, right? These are maybe future customer support, which means interactions on social media become a part of this as well. So, replies and comments to your videos and other conversations happening in different groups and platforms. This is all a part of customer support, right? So how can we manage this, especially if you're just starting out? Well, number one, it's going to be important to understand that you have to schedule time in to do this, or else you're going to drive yourself insane. And even just 1 hour a day, for example, of you going in there and replying to comments, responding to forum posts, and of course, emails and customer support that is direct to you, scheduling that in is going to be really key. When I first started out, I used to try to reply to every single comment and email the moment it came in, and I had zero time for anything else, and that means you're also giving up control of your time. You want to take control of your time, schedule those interactive times in, because people can wait a little bit, but of course, depending on what it is that you offer, you might want to, check your inbox or have notifications for certain things, and you can set up your inboxes to message you when certain urgent messages come in and things like that. Like you can get pretty advanced with that, but you might not even need that right away. When you're just starting out, having direct contact with your audience and allowing for those customer support inquiries to come in is really key. And then the big idea, just to kind of share, is just to empathize with them. People often just want to know that they are heard and that something's being done to be taken care of, right? That's like ultimately the most important thing. And then of course, solving that problem if you're able to. Now, over time, as you grow, if you start to see the same questions coming in or the same pattern of inquiries, that's where you can create a frequently asked question, either web page or PDF file, or even using something like a bot to help answer questions for people so that they're able to get those questions answered right away versus having to wait for you to reply to them. So this is where AI and automation and other tools like Intercom, or we use Help Scout, can work really, really well. And then ultimately over time, especially if you have a lot of customers and paying customers, you really want to make sure people get taken care of in a timely manner. And this is where you can hire contractors or outside team members. I will say, however, that utilizing people in your community to help support other community members, whether inside of a community like what we have at SPI, or even hiring them or bringing them on and pro bono, helping them out in some way for the help that they're giving you. These can be great solutions in the interim as you're still building your business and don't quite yet have the funds to support a full-on team. Speaking of supporting your customers, let's talk about life support. Life support for you. Because one thing that most entrepreneurs don't do is take a moment to just assess how things are going. And that's what I want to share with you here. A check-in with yourself once a quarter is going to be extremely, extremely important, because once you build momentum, once you start to see some success, you begin to crave it. You want more and you start to work harder, and eventually you could burn out. And it's important to check in with yourself too, because the plan you had today might not be the plan you have tomorrow, and what got you here won't get you there. So here's what I would recommend. Schedule, put in your calendar every quarter, a 30-minute self check-in, a why-focused introspection, as I like to call it, or a Wi-Fi. Because if you don't have good Wi-Fi, you're lagging. And here's what you have to assess. In fact, I'm gonna give you some tips from my book, Lean Learning, and it's the 3 Ps of persist or pivot. There's a lot of Ps there, but this is how you determine whether or not you're on the right track or not. So the first P is progress. In what it is that you're doing, are you at least making some progress, even if it's slow progress? That's important. If you're not making any progress at all, a change needs to be made, because what is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, right? Einstein's the man. The second P is passion. Are you still lit up by this in some way, shape, or form? Is there any part of this that you enjoy? If the answer is no, then we have to reassess, well, what is it that we're doing? And are we doing the things that maybe we originally enjoyed but don't? Or have we moved away from those things? I know a lot of designers, for example, who went on to create big agencies, but then converted from a designer, which they loved, to a people manager, which they hated. And they didn't even realize it until it was too late. So it's important, again, to do these assessments and realize, are you still passionate about any part of this? If not, then we need to reassess. And thirdly, is it purpose? Oftentimes as we grow as entrepreneurs, our purpose changes. And as our purposes change, we also need to understand if the directions need to change too. If our navigation system needs to be updated, or if we need to change the address within it. Because we will have different goals over time, because we will be interested in other things. And we as human beings change, and the people around us change. Our audiences change. So it's important to have this assessment. So again, these 3 Ps, every quarter, have a 30-minute check-in with yourself to assess these 3 Ps: progress, passion, purpose. And my one purpose for this is to help you, and hopefully it has. And if it has, please hit that like button and subscribe, because we got more information for you to help you. Just like Relay, our sponsor, can help you with small business banking. So again, smartpassiveincome.com/relay to go and get set up. And once you fund your account, you'll get $50 from Relay, which is awesome. So smartpassiveincome.com/get-relay, and get going. Go do it. Go do those boring things, because that's what most people will try to avoid. And this is how you can create an amazing foundation for your business and your success moving forward.